Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain here. Alright, so we're gonna be doing two quests in this video. Wow, two videos in one video? What kind of Matrix stuff is this? Alright, so we'll be doing the quest out in Cerulean Hills. Now, when you first enter Cerulean Hills, almost directly to your right, we're gonna be heading that direction. So just this way, so we're heading west on the map as we're entering in from the north. So if we look over there where that the white stones are, this is where we're headed, and there'll be a cart broken down just around the corner here. There it is. And this is the quest right here. So this quest is where there's smoke. Now, one thing I do want to point out is now that we're level 5, we are going to have to deal with some additional game mechanics. So once you reach quests that are level 5, so it could be a level 4 quest on hard, a level 5 quest on normal, or actually no, it doesn't work on normal. So a level 4 quest on hard, or a level 3 quest on elite, giving it a total level of 5. You can end up running into what they call champions. I'm actually going to bring out a hireling for this one, just in case.
Things look peaceful on the road.
And what they have is actually there was one right there. So they'll have these little crowns above their head, and this just signifies that they are a stronger version than normal. And what they can do is they can also now drop a new, I guess it's a kind of a currency. They're called remnants, and that's what they're good for there. Alright. So, what I want to point out here is, right when you head in, as you can see on the map there, you can head up the hill, and there's these encampments. There will be 3 encampments total that all have dogs. If you have the speech skill, you can just, diplomacy, bluff, or intimidate these dogs into following you. If you do not, there are 3 chests located throughout the quest that have ham, and you can just feed the dogs some ham instead. And then your objective is actually to bring them all the way back to the start here. And oh, hey, look, we did receive a remnant from killing those champions there. So just like in Scrag's quest, we just gotta drag the dog to the start of the quest. What most people do is they actually choose to either skip the dogs altogether, or they will clear up to the last dog, and then send one person, if you're in a group, all the way back, and do it in one trip, rather than making 3 separate trips. Alright. So what I want to point out is this quest does have a, the main path which you can take, and that's all good, fine and good there. However, you do miss out on a lot of the breakables, as well as a fair amount of the killing as well. So if you are going for that full bonus, then it is really tough to do without going down all these side paths. As well as you'll miss out on these chests that have these smoke-cured ham. Now, again, these are only good to use in a tavern if you're going to use them for healing. However, you can feed them to the dogs.
The Orc raiders have thrown up a crude barricade across the road to discourage aid from returning to the farm.
Potion of visibility, I'll grab that. Alright, so there's a couple of champs. Now it's also good to note that each champion will have a tag underneath. So this guy is a hero's soul. And basically each one of them... Ooh, we got a remnant chest. Cool. Each one of them has a special ability. So the hero soul, they can either be really, really dodgy, and basically make it so that it's very hard to hit them, or it'll grant themselves a one-time heal once they get low hit points. Alright, so the other thing to point out is, as you noticed there, when we killed that champion, he actually dropped a chest. Now, instead of just dropping a remnant on the ground, they can sometimes drop a chest. Now, these chests and these remnants, they actually drop wherever your feet are. So if you kill them while you're standing on the ground, it'll be right on the ground. However, if you're like me and you like to jump, a lot of times you'll get them floating in the air. Alright, so here is your second of the ham chests, as well as this one here is for that named enemy that we had killed. There can be a named enemy at all three major camps. So one here, and I believe there's another one over there. As well, here's now our second dog. So if we're just going to go on the map here. So our first dog was in the first little dip we took to the south. Second one is now in the second dip we took to the south. And the third one is coming up. So once we hit that third one, that's when I'll start running them back to the start. So this one here is a Flameborn, meaning he is resistant to fire, but takes additional cold damage, as well as he does additional fire damage. Stone Guard, those ones are kind of annoying for most physical damage dealers, as they are resistant. However, they do take additional lightning damage, so if you notice the purple numbers there, that's because my rune arm itself does lightning damage. So as you can see, this enemy here is a demon soul who is resistant to both, physical, and was almost immune to that lightning. Alright, and right here, this is our third and final of the meat chests. Right, so this is what I was talking about with them dropping at where your feet is. So I was up in the air, so it dropped right where my feet were at that time. Alright, so here's another one of their orc encampments. Again, this one can have a named orc that can spawn in. As well, it also has our final dog. So now that we're at our final dog, so these are your options: diplomacy, intimidator, bluff, and then again you can feed that dog a smoke-cured ham. If, however, you do one of those speed skills and you fail, when you let him off the leash, he's still angry with you and will actually actively try to attack you. Now, there isn't it's not a pass or fail if you do kill the dog, as they do have two optionals here, one for befriending them and one for bringing them to the start. So if you are unable to befriend them and they are aggressive towards you, you just won't be able to get this the first optional here. However, you can have it just chase you down all the way to the start. But if you're unsure about your skills, I would definitely make sure to just grab those ham instead and feed them the ham that way. And if you are doing that, again, it isn't that hard to just wait until you get far enough in to have all three. And there we go. So really simple optional. And, you know, as you can see, not too bad for where experience is concerned. This is definitely a quest that's normally on my list for when I am leveling up. Which, if you guys are interested in which quests I normally run, rather than all of them, as you'll see while we're leveling up, we are going to be essentially wasting a lot of experience, as I'll be already leveled before we complete all the quests there of the level. But as I want to bring you all the quests at level, we'll definitely be doing that instead here. Alright, so what I want to point out is they do have two paths to take. One coming up and across the bridge. Now if you come across the bridge and you come up this way, this is where a lot of these enemies spawn in. However, if you actually come up through this path here, one, you'll have to deal with a whole bunch of wolves once you reach about this point. There they are. So, I'm just going to show you where the start of this path is. Alright, so this one is the one that we get coming from in the water and the muck here, rather than going up that path there. So if we come up this path, one, we got these wolves to deal with. Once we reach the top, just a moment here for us to actually get back up top. Alright, so once we reach back up top here, it will have spawned in a couple new enemies. Or at least it's, yeah, there it is. So these wolves only appear if you go up the path here. Again, if you don't go up that path, and you just choose to come up and around, you only have the enemies. If you come and choose to only go up the bottom path here, most of those enemies won't have spawned in. It'll just be the wolves, and I believe like 2 other enemies.
Smoke rises in the distance. You'll need to act quickly to save Nash's house from the flames.
Alright, so one method to save us flames, I know it's easiest to just break down the door, but actually if you leave the door closed and choose to come back up and around, at least this used to be the method. Again, it's been a long time since I've done these quests particularly. And what happens is you pull this valve and it opens up the water barrel, putting out the fire. Now, the quest used to be the enemies would not break these doors. That's no longer the case. As well.
Angry orc cries bellow from behind the
So
house.
yeah,
as
they
the flames go
they're still
up.
there. I recommend still fighting behind the house here. It pulls you as far away from the enemies as possible, and you're able to fight them in smaller groups rather than all at once. As well as it does provide you some cover from the more rangy enemies, like that one there. Alright, so now that we've got most of them down, we've just got 3 left here.
The local orcs will think twice before
And
raiding
that's it.
another farmstead in the Cerulean Hills.
Alright, so that is where there's smoke. Again, a fairly simple quest. Fairly linear too. You can actually just head, again, follow this main road all the way down to the end.
A dusty caravan blocks the road to the west.
Alright. So our next quest, upon exiting there, if we look on our map, it is actually located right here at the Gruul Tribe outpost. Now if you're noticing, we do have a few other quest entrances, and they actually belong to another set of, another quest chain, which is actually fairly new in comparison to these 2 here, and we will get to them as well. Alright, so from there we just follow the main road. You can choose to go a little cross country right here. And then just keep on following the road here, so we just bypass a little bit of the bridge. And the road will actually lead us right to the entrance of the quest itself. Oh, and there goes our hireling, because I didn't have it following us.
This caravan has been looted and ripped to pieces. Judging from the debris, this happened quite recently. The road continues east into territory controlled by
Alright, so
hostile
we did get one of the
tribal
rares. So one rare can actually spawn right here. I just want to point this out because they are on the way to the quest. So one rare can spawn right in this little encampment, which we did get. As well as those 2 enemies over there that we had killed. Sometimes a rare can spawn over there as well. There are several other rares, such as a lion that can spawn at the top there. And well, you know, minus those 3, there are 4 other rares in this area. But the reason I didn't point them out is I'm just we're just heading to our quest here. So this second quest out in Cerulean Hills here is the captives. Alright. So this quest here, we can just start and hop directly off the hill. I'm actually gonna shoot these enemies from up here. Because I can. Alright. The way I normally do it is I actually head across the bridge here.
The Ghoul tribe outpost that holds the captives must be nearby.
As again, it lets us get more kills in, allowing us to get our conquests a little bit easier. Now, again, if you don't have Featherfall, this is also the path that I do recommend, as that's a long drop if you don't have Featherfall. Once we get to the bottom, if we actually head directly around and head to the waterfall, there is a collectible here as well. There is a possible named that can spawn. Unfortunately, he didn't spawn here for us. It is a named ooze, for those of you who are interested. Alright, so to continue on, some of these guys that we've already killed, so here's that chest for that named enemy. Alright, and another thing to note is, as soon as we go near that lever there, it's going to actually spawn in, oh, apparently as soon as we kill these guys, generally speaking, once we get near, that's when you get the wolves, because I was stopping to explain, they did come in a little bit earlier than I was expecting.
The Ghoul tribe has transformed the two islands in the center
and
of
same
the
within
river
this area, we have two enemies here, and as you can see, nobody over here. However, once we approach this lever,
atop the smaller island, a deep orc voice barks orders. It must be the orc commander directing
once we pull the lever. Yeah, there we go. As soon as we pull that lever, it spawns in an enemy behind you, and the enemy in front of you, they just so happened to be close enough when I had opened the door. As you can see, we also have a second named enemy. There can actually be a couple of them right here. One spawning near this pillar, and one spawning near that pillar over there. And there we go. So there are, as you can see, some enemies near the gate. That one that's there crouching, he doesn't actually become activated until you approach. There are also some enemies that'll spawn right here. These ones only spawn once you get close enough to them. And then once you do that, it also spawns in a couple of wolves. Here we go. So just be aware that you'll have that extra group of wolves now activating and coming after you as well. That way they don't get behind you, because they can be a pain. Alright. So once we approach, he becomes active, and from there all that's left is to enter our village. So again, more of the same. That enemy there, you can't actually even hit him until first off, until the breakables are gone, but you won't even let you hit him, citing 0 damage until you get close enough to actually spawn him in. So if you're careful, it does make entering this village a little bit easier. Now, as you can see, we do have 2 enemies there at the back. If we actually tab over them, when the breakables aren't there, we can actually target them and hit them, but they don't want to move. So this can save you some of the fighting. As you approach the tent, it will start spawning in enemies. First an orc barbarian, then an orc bandit, and then finally a black wolf. As well, once you approach the tent there and those guys start spawning, the 2 at the back will essentially activate and come after you. So just be aware of that. So now we're actually at the very end of our quest here. We now have our ransack. All that's left is to go through one gate. Now these captives here, there's 2 methods that people use. They'll either free 2 of them, that way they don't complete, or you can free all of them and actually use them to assist you in this end fight, as they will attack.
A captive lies inside the nearby cell.
They can't technically die. What happens is, if they take enough damage to be killed, they'll just fall back down on the ground, and all you gotta do is talk to them again.
You see a captive inside the nearby cell. Judging from the clothes, you freed Lady Asdul and her bodyguards from the orcs.
Alright, so yeah, if they happen to fall, all you have to do is talk to them again, and they'll get back up. Or you can, I mean, it sounds horrible, but you can leave them right where they fall. Alright, so I always choose to kill the trash here first, letting them get the aggro of the boss. So as you see, you're taking down this person here, talk to him again, and they get right back up. And as you can see, they actually can do a decent amount of damage. Partly it's because this one is a champion here. It's really nice to have champions on our side for once. He just really doesn't want to let up on that guy. yeah, you can actually, again, go through the entire fight just healing them, letting
With
them do the killing.
the Ghoul tribe's plan to ransom captives taken from the Cerulean Hills has been ended.
Or you can do it yourself there. Once you're done, you come across the little bridge, and they have a chest here for us. Now again, just random loot chest, no named items. Once we're done, we could go ahead and finish out. And then once we're in that Slayer, we can just hit recall again, and that'll take us back to the public town there, where we can actually turn in this quest here.
The road continues
Now,
east into territory
I did actually
controlled
forget
by
when we
hostile
completed
Ghoul
that quest. Oh, no,
tribals.
apparently I didn't. So, this one here, this is the one that we picked up in town. The Where There's Smoke quest, you actually turn that back in right at the same guy. So here we're just recalling back to town. And I hope you guys enjoyed these two quests. Alright, have a good one all.